Hey Copper Nerds! In this episode we are going to be talking about Penny the Druid, my Druid collection, the Noonan's Hoard, Jerry Bobbe, and everything under the sun related to Druids. And spoiler alert, if you didn't get your hands on one of those Hoard Druids over the last 9 months that I've been talking about them, they are no longer for sale. So we'll talk about that. Let's get into it.
Greetings. It is a pleasure to be back with you for this episode about, well, me.
So as you can see, Penny is back. I've cut out a lot of the AI stuff that I was using previously, but Penny, I think, is one of the few good things to come out of AI in this crazy world. But first, I want to show you what was available to collectors generally before the Hoard. So this is my D&H 19. It's in a slab, which makes it tough for me to show off, but it is a mint state 64 lovely, absolutely lovely Druid penny. Oops, metal flip. Just such a great piece. See if I can get a little extra light, see if that helps or can help. Yeah, a little bit. And we'll probably step outside at some point. But this is kind of as nice as you could hope to pick up until September of last year. Maybe a few months before that, actually, when the Hoard of Druids started appearing over in England through Noonan's. There was a couple of auctions where out of nowhere you had mint red Druids start showing up and becoming available. As far as half pennies go, again, this is, a nice example. This one's an AU 50. But this was the kind of stuff you could hope to pick up. Most everything else, had been circulated. More like this. Do I have any more laying out here? Yeah, here's another one. Or like this. Yeah. Or like, I'm pretty sure I took one of my, or like this one, which has been cleaned. Lots of problematic Druids out there, but what I want to show off is what came out of the Noonan's Hoard, which is also the Jerry Bobbe Hoard, because outside of a couple of auctions where you could pick up a few pieces, these all went through Jerry Bobbe, who purchased hundreds of pieces. There was 300 and some odd pieces in the Hoard. I think 340. I'll have Penny correct some of the stuff. And then Jerry ended up getting like 220 pieces all together after having purchased maybe 40. So Jerry ended up with like 250, 260 out of 340 pieces. And here I have got, I think, 9 of them. So I'm going to lay these out and pull them out to show them all to you. And I think what I'm going to do is just toss this into fast forward mode, and you can see me pull these all out. Well, let's take a look at some of these. I have freshly washed hands before I handle these, of course. You do need to be very careful with them. But no, we don't wear gloves when handling these. So what I have here is a number of varieties. This one is a D&H 90, which has a nice brown but sort of purplish brown toning. On the obverse, the reverse has a lot of red left. And we'll look at some of these out in the natural light here shortly. Then I've got a 96, sort of similar situation. Brown with some blues and things, and the reverse has lots of red and some fun colored toning there as well, as we'll see outside. We have the D&H 99, which is a proof issue, and just a monster, mostly red on this one, and a lovely proof. And then, not to be outdone, we have the D&H 110, which is another proof issue. This one's got some great rainbow colors going on. Just a lovely piece. Sort of blues and purples on the reverse on this one. Then we get into the 134. There weren't very many of these in the Hoard.
There were 14 Druids of the D&H 134 variety in my Hoard, and 169 of my D&H 135 brothers, 170 total.
And again, so far, all of these came from the Jerry Bobbe Hoard, the Noonan's Hoard. I keep flipping those around. Just incredible. And then the D&H 135, I've got 4 of them here. There's only 2 of those known before the Hoard came out, adding something like 170. And I'm going to have Penny the Druid, who happens to be right here. So the character Penny is based on this exact Druid token, which is a beautiful, like, deepening red. I wouldn't call it brown. It'd be easy to say it's brown. It's not brown. Those are brown. This is like a deepening red color. It's really fantastic.
I have sidetracked you with my beauty. Yes, there were 170 of us in the Hoard, plus the 2 known previous. I will show you Jerry's notes.
And then this was the first one that I picked up from Jerry. Also a D&H 135. But a lovely, lovely specimen. Sort of a greenish toned reverse was something I liked about it. And then I just got back from the ANA Summer Seminars, where I got to listen to Jerry talk about this Hoard for about an hour. And I picked up a couple more for me and one for my son Jordan for his birthday. Look at these colors. Just a lovely, lovely specimen. These 2 are very similar. Look at that. Nothing not to love about these. Very red on the reverse. The Hoard also had some hay pennies or half pennies. This one's a D&H 380. This is a pattern proof. Very few of these exist, well under 100, probably like 50. And this is one of the very finest which came out of the Hoard. It has a unique depiction that was ultimately rejected by the Paris Mining Company, who had these struck or struck them. There was sort of a combination of Soho Mint did some, and some were struck privately, some were struck actually at the mine. This was rejected because they did not like the pattern of the beard. They said it looked like a waterfall, and that the hood was too small and looked like his head was tiny and couldn't contain a brain, implying that he looked dumb. This one is really nice. You know, these have all been handled by whoever curated them over the years. So it looks like someone's touched the fields on this one a little bit, but on whole, just marvelous, marvelous, very red. Killer piece.
So I have a beard that looks like a waterfall and no brains? Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
And then this last one did not come from the Hoard. This just came from Jerry Bobbe's collection. This is a D&H 391. This is a bronzed proof, and this is a Bolton and Watt product. So the legendary Soho Mint. Anything bronzed from them is hard to find and just exceptional. What an incredible piece. Oh, interesting. This one is coin flip. Magnificent. I just picked this one up from Jerry as well, and I love it. So what's the story on the Druids? The Druids were an old religious cult, essentially. They looked like this. They lived in the oak forests. That's why we have the oak leaf and acorn wreath around the outside on the front there.
Indeed, we lived on present-day Anglesey Island, Wales, which was our training camp where we studied law, astronomy, poetry, and the lore of the gods.
When the Paris Mining Company in Anglesey, Wales was established, they had miners and they had copper, but they did not have currency to pay their workers. So the workers were mining this very copper, and the Paris Mining Company was having these tokens struck and paying their workers in these tokens. And they circulated extensively. That's why there's so many examples out there that look like some of the ones that I've had on the desk. So these circulated a bunch. So most of them that are out there, a nicer one looks like this. Now, when the Hoard came out of nowhere, it sort of blew up the market, and people went from collecting something like this is the finest to any one of these, which is, a superior token or coin to this one. Just lots of red. These things are immaculate. Some of the 135s have been mishandled over the years. The proofs have held up really quite well. There's some out there that have spotting and staining because there were storage issues over the last couple hundred and some years. So to get one of the nicest ones is pretty tough. There are going to be some Hoard Druids out there on the market right now, which are kind of gnarly and need conservation, and even with conservation are not going to look like this. So if you can get your hands on any of these nice examples of Hoard Druids moving forward, there are some out there, although the ones that Jerry Bobbe has remaining are very few, in the teens. And they're the reddest ones. I myself like the toning. I will show you on the reddest ones, many of them have a little bit of black spotting going on. This is my son's. It is redder than the ones that you see in front of us here. And it seems like you either got toning or you got some little black spots. This is an absolute monster, by the way. This is my son Jordan's, and it's probably nicer than any of my 135s. But it does have some little black spots in the red area here. And looks like we're probably going to have to step outside with a few of these so that you can see that.
The Romans eradicated our people as they claimed dominion over us, but we resisted. Also, they thought human sacrifice was problematic and would not agree to disagree on that point.
Well, we are outside. This is the 99 proof and the 110. This is the 134. My son's 135, and there's the little black spots that I was talking about that are common on the red examples. You typically see either toning or mint red with a few little black spots. This is another 135. This is the first one that I picked up from Jerry from the Hoard. This is Penny the Druid, and you can see, again, not brown, like a deepening red. Also a 135. Here's that D&H 380 pattern proof. Look at the very different appearance of the Druid. Again, this was rejected and never actually produced for circulation, just a pattern proof. And here's the 391, the Bolton and Watt bronzed proof. These are all exceptional. I will flip them over here off camera so you can see the reverses on each of these. But just spectacular late 1700s Druid pennies. And here we are on the reverse. The sun might be too bright today, actually, but doing the best I can here to try and show you what these actually look like. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful pieces. I will carefully get these back inside and we'll finish up. Let's look at them all again here a little closer up with some indoor light. So if this is your first time seeing the Hoard Druids, which I've talked about a lot, you might be wondering, where can I get one of these? And unfortunately, the answer right now is you cannot. Certainly look on the secondary market to see if anything is out there, but Jerry Bobbe's Hoard has been shrunk down as far as he is shrinking it, and he just has a few left that are not presently on the market. But you know, probably someday he'll release a few more. The ones he has left are going to be, you know, the brighter reds. Really the finest stuff is what he kept for his collection. And then his very small inventory is going to be the nicest Druids that have ever existed. But I hope you do get into the series. They're just really interesting. The history behind them is fun. Feel free to deep dive into the Druids. They were an interesting people. And then the story of the Paris Mining Company, Paris Mountain on Anglesey, which is an island off of Wales. That story is interesting, you know, paying the workers in the copper that they had mined in the form of these Druid tokens, some of which were produced by Bolton and Watt, along with other manufacturers, but always very, very well struck, beautiful pieces. All of them have nice square corners, bold luster, and most of them have lots of red. So they're really cool. And then the Druid Penny is also the first Condor token. So the entire series of Condor tokens all started right here. So I congratulate each and every one of you who have picked up Hoard pieces. They're truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, the odds that this Hoard was released now rather than 100 years ago or in 100 years, what good fortune we have to have the opportunity to collect specimens this nice from the Jerry Bobbe and Noonan's Hoard of Druids. So thanks for checking this one out. Feel free to hit me up in the comments. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
It was a pleasure seeing you all again. Thank you for collecting these fabulous numismatic pieces, which are a tribute to my people. Cheers. Perhaps some bonus content is in order. Let us take a look at some of Jerry's Hoard photos. And now, the grand finale, Jerry's favorite DNH 110. Enjoy.